Welcome to the first episode of our new Momentum podcast, which has no name. And we have a surprise guest that just walked in the building. But my name is Kris Creamer. This is Mike
Mike Haarlander.
Yeah. Mike Haarlander. And just thought we'd talk about entrepreneurship, South Bend, and anything else that we might think in the moments we have.
Great. Sounds good.
Just to give a little context, so you, I don't want to tell your story. You can kind of brief it, but of not from South Bend, came here for school, left, but have a very strong affinity for what's going on here. You come back a lot. Just, what brings that out from you, and like why do you think it's such a interesting space, like in a place to be that you want to like keep coming and see? What do you see?
Yeah, I think for me, so I'm old. So I graduated ND in 99 and, kind of went on with life and would come back for games every once in a while. And then in like 2020, I started a consulting gig for startups, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was kind of doing that, and I wanted to test out my material in different places. Mm-hmm. Like, does it land? Does it hit? So I actually connected with Workbox in Chicago. And while I was doing
Did you know that he was an ND guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I talked with him maybe a year ago.
Good dude, right?
Sorry.
No. So Kyle over there connected me, and while I was doing some of the mentoring, they said, hey, you should go back to Notre Dame. They have this idea center thing. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just like showed up one day in the lobby, right? I just showed up in the lobby and then just started talking to people, and then they connected me to John Henry. Yeah. And I just hung out on the couch and talked to John Henry for like 3 hours about sales and entrepreneurship. Oh, and then he was like, do you want to do something? And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm here. I want to give back, right? Yeah. And so for me, it was like the idea center and the fact that Notre Dame had an entrepreneurship something was like, oh, I actually can give back. Outside of that, I was like, well, what value am I going to bring to ND besides the check I send them every year, right? What was that value? So I started doing that.
Like my $100.
Yeah. Here's enough to get football tickets, right? Like that's I checked the box. And I love I love Notre Dame. I dreamed about it my whole life growing up. So having a way to go back and contribute. And so then I just started mentoring and just hanging out. And then it was like once a quarter, and now it's like once a month. And now I'm mentoring kids that have graduated from Notre Dame, but I'm still talking to them and just staying connected to the community in that way.
Yeah. And like, I'm trying to think who we talked before, Momentum opened, before our apartments opened, of just like how to create, like you've seen other cities and like probably like ecosystems that are doing robust things. And like, that's what we're trying to build here. Yeah. And just like, are there like one or two things that you think are most important that either we're missing in the region, or that like we could do to make sure that we're a place that people want to stay? 'Cause like even just this week we had another one by the dust in terms of moving for various reasons, working on a startup. And every time I see that, I'm like, oh, like what could we do better? And I don't know if you have thoughts on as a region, not as us as the hub, but as a region.
No, I think it's a great point. So I think there's a couple key things. So one is I think that Notre Dame and the Idea Center is doing a good job of getting some things started, right? And then, McCluskey and all of that and some of the activities, and then Idea Week. Yep. Like so much better last year, right? Like you are crushing that, right? So well done. I know you got a big part in that. So much more excitement, so much more enthusiasm. I think it's that next step, right? So it's like maybe an incubator or like some sort of like
a program.
Yeah, a program to like mentoring and helping to guide them through. But the other part of it is like entrepreneurship is hard. Like it's hard. It sucks. Like you lose sleep. You're nauseous. You're anxious. You don't feel good about yourself. You feel amazing. You feel horrible. Like it sucks. And I think that attrition's a part of the deal.
Right.
But I also think that next step, everyone's like all excited to have ideas and to do your first pitch and maybe even get your first 50 or 100K raised. But it's like, what do you do after that? Yeah. And so we need a structure to foster that and to have it. And I also think sometimes in ecosystems, there's all like competition on it. And it's like, no, man. Like it's not competition. Yeah. We need to share our best practices from our company. We could be a completely different business model, but your company could give me something. And I think there's got to be more of that collaborative spirit and some kind of incubator system to launch them better.
Yeah, I know. I would say we've talked about that a lot, and I'm, having some recent conversation with the different orgs. 'Cause I think if I want it to be buy-in from multiple folks. So
Yeah, you'd have to.
If we try to do that from a cost standpoint and just like getting enough people. But the piece that, you know, I feel like also doesn't get talked about as much is like the hard things. That's actually gonna be at one point. I had a title for the podcast of something about the hardest things, and like that's where, you know, what I've seen, and I've kind of talked about this before on the Fireside podcast, is like we just keep pushing the boundary of what we can stomach. And so, like,
yeah,
like I don't know if you ever feel like that. Like what the stress,
like
level?
what time today? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, and it's just like what you were able to stomach like 5-10 years ago is different than today, or like what level of stress is your norm versus what it was, you know, 10-15 years ago. And like, but it's for a lot of new folks, like that's a new feeling.
Oh yeah,
of can I pay my bills? You know, what debt collectors after me?
They're coming.
You know, or like. I have to fire somebody, and you know all the different things that can be stressful. And I don't know, like, are there? Do you have one that you can recall that you want to share of like that was a learning that like that helped you deal with something better, of like one of those turning points of like the stress or of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I think, you know, one of those things. So I moved to Amsterdam during COVID.
Okay.
Right. And I had this like business model and this idea. So I'm in like a foreign country. I don't know a soul. I don't know their political or business
Yeah.
culture. Right. And I did not have enough cash.
Yeah.
Like to have been there. Like it was like I got there and I'm like, I got to put food on the table.
Yeah.
How's this going to happen?
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened is I just started pitching. Right, I just started calling LinkedIn, just making calls, doing whatever I could to get things going. And one of like my best friends, I said, "Hey man, can I do my pitch for you?"
Yeah.
And I did my pitch for him, and he's like, "Dude, why are you on the defensive?"
Oh,
and I was like, "What?"
interesting. Yeah.
He's like, "No, you have a good service to offer, but you're like apologetic and defensive in your pitch. Like, be on the attack." And so it was like, no, but I'm not in good shape. Like, you should see my bank account. I don't know how I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
I'm worried about rent next month.
Yep.
Let alone anything else. And he's like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You got to be on the offensive.
Yeah.
Do you believe in what you're offering?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in what we're offering. Then be on the offensive. And so that for me was a big turning point. That it's like you have to just. It's the, you know, not to go biblical, but it is the faith of a mustard seed.
Yeah.
Like you just got to believe.
Yeah.
You got to Ted Lasso that thing, and you got to be on the offensive and be positive on the offensive.
Yeah.
And that's tough in a ditch.
Well, and I think like when you're backed in a corner, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it's a different than if you're too comfortable. You can keep delaying, like being on the offensive, right? Like you can versus once it's like, hey, I have no other option. You know, failure. The whole failure's not an option.
100%.
And I do. Yeah, that's great because I do. I feel like that of when how many sleepless nights can you do in a row for like, hey, like every day I'm going out selling, I'm going out with as much as I can to make this thing happen versus inaction because of I don't know, I deal with a lot of paralysis of analysis sort of thing, and it causes inaction a lot versus then being in the corner and being like, okay, like I don't there's no and I see this a lot with like I don't know, they talk about like social media stuff is no one's really caring. And I said it in a positive way, like no one's judging as much as we all think people are judging us, right?
Dude, I have a great one for that.
Yeah.
So I called on this one guy, I mean, for a year straight.
Yeah.
Like 52 weeks in a row, right? Voicemail, email, direct mail, nothing, right? I'm like, oh my God. I get to a networking event and somebody introduces me to this guy.
Oh, so you didn't know him when you were, it was cold, yeah.
It was straight cold outreach.
Yep.
I get introduced to him at a networking event. He has no idea who I am. No. Man. So we're all worried about like, what do we, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like nobody calls you back but your mother.
Yeah.
And nobody cares.
Yeah.
And so for me with the team, as we've been building this project, it's been a conversation where I'm like, guys, you don't understand. The 5.5 inches in between your ears in entrepreneurship Like, we're not joking.
Yeah.
It is the most important part.
Yeah.
Because all the other stuff, you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, I remember you with, can I talk about it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
that's
remember
what
the
this is.
furniture? Right? Remember the furniture delay and you were panicked and freaked out and like, that
Yeah.
stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that happens,
Yeah.
but you just plow through. So you're signing contracts with us to come and get space in here
Yeah.
on a future promise that furniture will come, right? But like, that's okay. You took that leap.
Yeah.
But that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You're selling as an entrepreneur. You're not selling today. You're selling the possibility of tomorrow. And when people are putting bets on you, whether it's clients or investors, they're not betting on whether the product works.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't betting on whether or not furniture was able to deliver. I was betting on
Yeah.
is Kris going to have the stick-to-itness?
Yep.
Does he have the gumption? Can he handle the acid in his stomach? And so I was like, yep, I'll bet on Kris
Yeah.
because I know he can handle the acid in his stomach. That's what they're betting on. They're not betting on the product.
Yeah.
The product's going to be fine. It's can they bet on the acid in your stomach?
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't even know how to follow that up because, yeah, I remember it's, yeah, that's great.
It's what's so, right?
Yeah, that's great. Well, is there, you've done, I don't want to say a lot of different things, but various things, and is there anything like about the company you're working on now that makes you like really excited? And maybe it's because, and then sometimes I'll give an example too of with some of the things I'm doing now. I'm like, oh, I'm taking all the things I learned with all the other things that maybe didn't work.
Yeah.
And now I get an opportunity to apply those in a way where I've learned a lot along the way, or it's the failure rate's hopefully a lot less because I was dinking around, with whatever, and yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's a few things in there. So
Yeah.
that there's some good stuff in there. So with the runways, project that I'm in now. So a couple things. One is like all my failures did prepare me, right? Like there's so many lessons. And that's one of the things you got to get as an early entrepreneur. Like you are gonna bomb. You know what I mean? Like when you go skiing, they call it like a yard sale. That's where you lose both poles and both skis. Like you're gonna have yard sales, right? That's gonna happen. So that's one thing. I think the next thing in this project, for me personally, what I've learned is like, as the solopreneur, right? You have to do everything. And I suck at a lot of it. And so this game, I was like, no, I want to find a co-founder. I want to find a team.
Yeah.
And I want to go get a CTO. I want to go get a CEO. I want to go get people that know how to do those things well and raise capital to hire smart, good people because I'm good at people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like that, full stop. Mike's good at working with people, getting people excited, pulling them into a project, and sharing the vision and the mission. You don't want me doing your taxes. You don't want me coding. You know what I mean? You don't want me doing any of that stuff. I'm not. So it's like getting who are you? And I see so many entrepreneurs, that they start off and they're the CEO.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
The CEO.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you know who you are? Like you're head of HR for your company. That's who you are. Yeah. And that's okay.
And it's hard though too.
Oh,
I
it's
hired the
brutal.
right people. Like before my recent projects, I was mostly using contractors, and like those you hire for a project, they move on. Like it's not the same as employees.
Yeah.
And in the last 2 years, for various things, I've had to hire more employees, and it's hard. It is a time consuming and mental consuming process.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not a therapist, okay? But your ego has to die. And the answer to how fast can you move is how quickly are you going to let your ego die. Now, my ego died in other projects. So I came in with a less live ego.
Yeah.
Right? Still had one.
Yeah.
But it had been killed off a few times before.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to this one, I was like, oh, I kind of know all the places I shouldn't be. I put my head in a couple places it shouldn't be, but I got out of it quick.
Right.
But it's like you just, your ego has to die. You got to leave it outside. Yeah. Because your ego is going to ruin you. But it's also the thing that has you crazy enough to believe that you can pull it off.
Agree. Because with and not to, this built momentum project is one that we talk about a lot. So, I like to use that as an example of, how many times did I have to pitch it where people are just like, I don't see, not only do I not see, I don't know that we need it. Or I'm walking through doing a tour in the building and they want to believe, but they're very visual, and so it's like I'm trying to sell these things that like trust me, and it's hard because it's just like I know like then you question yourself. You're like, I think did I just sucker all these people into something that on any product, right? That is not real.
Yeah.
But I think that's just part of there's probably some lack of confidence there, and imposter syndrome, and all those things that we go through.
We're like super confident and then super depressed.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's in 30 seconds.
100%.
Just is.
Yeah. So like how often, so you're coming here like about once a month now? Or
I'm here once a month now, right now.
Nice.
Yep.
You're coming for Idea Week-ish?
Yeah. No, I'll be there because we won McCluskey, so I get to be a semifinal judge. Nice. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah. What would you say with, to punch in, as they say, in the corporate world, or what is it when you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah.
Whatever that silly word is. Double click. Let's double click. Yeah, let's double click. What did you maybe found most valuable from like the Notre Dame network that having come here, and what if it's intros, access to people, capital, or just like feedback of people willing to pick up the phone? Is there anything that stood out to you?
Oh, hugely. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that. And there's a few different things there. So one, I got my CTO. I was living in Amsterdam, and he was the president of the Notre Dame Club of the Netherlands.
Awesome.
And then he happened to have a kid and want to move back to the States.
Yeah.
He was doing stuff at booking.com, and we grabbed him, right? So I got my CTO from there. And then Johnny Romano, who's been helping us out with a bunch of different stuff. He was like the leprechaun from like 2014 or something like that. And so he's been introducing us to a bunch of people. Charlie is like our head of products, right? So we grabbed him from there. And then because I was doing all that mentoring at the Idea Center, John Henry would send me an intern every semester. Nice. So like I had Adam Tolan, who crushed it. Yeah. Then Teresa, she's over at Beacon Health. Okay. And she helped us win McCluskey. That's awesome. But she still runs
I know. Because she was going to move in here. Yeah, I remember all that.
She runs our social media to this day. She helps us out. And now I have Beata, who's a sophomore doing marketing.
I think I know her. Yeah. I think she's come to a number of our events here.
She's been awesome.
Yeah.
And then what we've done, like how we've done outreach is we've alumni hacked. So I've taken the interns, they've reached out to Notre Dame folks that could support our project and are like, hey, I'm a Notre Dame student and I'm an intern on this project. Would you have a conversation with us? That's like, and I think a couple things. One, Notre Dame takes care of Notre Dame. Yeah. Like that happens consistently. And I think the part that it is we show up and we already know we have shared values. Yeah. And so those two things, like you just say it. And I've traveled all over the world and it's like, oh, what years did you go? What dorm were you in? When did you graduate? It's just like an instant connection. Like you have shared, like you're like, oh, do you love Corby's? And I love Corby's. I like CJ's Burger, right? Like that's it. So I think that what's cool about Notre Dame is that it did like everybody's from everywhere. Yep. I do want to help keep people here and build entrepreneurship, but all the people all over like that, I think that's probably the coolest part.
Nice. Is there any like, and it sounds like a cliche question too now though, as it starts to come out of my mouth, is like advice for, someone who might just be graduating, whether it be undergrad, a graduate degree, and trying to like consider, do you want to be an entrepreneur? And I use quotes from the sense of like, there's a lot of different paths for that, right? I could be a small business owner. I could do a software startup. I could be, there's different definitions, but to get them, I think it's always trying to get them to the next like milestone or phase. And I don't mean that at any stretch of like funding, but of just like to stick with it. What's one thing that you think is helpful?
Well, couple things.
Yeah,
one,
a couple. Yeah,
absolutely. So one is first pancake never comes out right. My mom has said that my whole life.
I love it.
First pancake never comes out right. It doesn't.
Yeah.
And so, and stop being married to your idea. Like stop being in love. Like I've done it. No, you haven't. Yeah. I love you and I'm supportive of you, but you haven't. And I'm not saying that you didn't figure out the next Uber. Yep. But the likelihood is that you have an idea that's a derivative of another idea. And I'm not saying there isn't new ideas. There is, and I'm not knocking those. Yeah. But stop being married to your idea. It might be like you open up a food truck, it completely bombs, but you learn from that, and then you're like, I think I like software. I'm going to teach myself coding, or I'm I'm going to use this, and like just keep iterating. But you don't have to iterate inside of the same project.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the lie. The lie for me early on was like, oh, this is the idea that's going to change the world. Instead of, no, we don't know that it is. So Runways was originally to help kids to become pilots.
Oh, yeah. That's very narrow.
Right? Now it's help kids get into anything that's a non-conventional pathway. Get into the trades, get into healthcare, become a pilot, right? Become a welder, electrician.
Yep.
We opened it up.
Yep.
But it was like, if we would have stuck with, well, our name was Runway, so we have to stay here, we would have never taken off.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yeah,
right? Dad joke, insert, right? So
I love it.
I'm just saying, this is cliched, but it's fail forward fast, right?
Yeah.
And people don't, what do you mean? I'm like, no, I want you to bomb. Like, I want you to make calls and completely screw up.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Well, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Like when I'm mentoring and I'm working with these kids and they're asking me, well, I talked to these companies and this is what they said, so I don't think this is going to work out. I'm like, no, you made 50 calls. You are 950 calls away from being able to determine that.
Yeah.
You just make 1,000 calls.
Yeah.
Make 1,000 calls.
Yeah.
And then you know.
Yeah.
But before 1,000, you're full of it.
Yeah, and I know like I've been guilty of some of my early projects where I just held on to them like way too long, hoping that they would. Yeah, and it's just 'cause, like I didn't have the next idea yet, so you're just like, let me continue, let me brute force it. Now, sometimes brute forcing is the right path.
Oh, 100%.
But not when it's like the market's told you they either don't want it or they're not ready for it, and it's like it's not going to change. Because I've often liked to do projects where you're correcting inefficiencies in markets, and typically people are making money off those inefficiencies. And so they don't want your thing to exist because then they'd be out of a job.
Right.
And so if they're more powerful than you, then it might be time to give up because like ultimately maybe that your thing might exist, but for right now, there's people making too much money that they're going to make sure this doesn't happen. And so like give up. I need to give up earlier than I did on some of those.
Yeah. And look, I'm all for staying in the good fight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But was it W.C. Fields is like, if it's first you don't succeed, quit. Try something else. I'm just saying, like, and that can be inside of your project, though.
Yeah.
And I think it's that, the pivoting that people are like, no. It's getting to plan Z.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many iterations. Just don't get married. Your idea might be good, but your way of getting there might be bad.
Yep.
And just be okay with that.
Yeah.
And one other thing, and this is I've seen a lot. So entrepreneurs, they'll find a product and they'll set the price that they think the market should bear. And it's like, no. The market lets you know what it should bear. So people, they'll build it out and it's like they have a product and it costs X.
Mm-hmm.
The market wants to pay 25% of that. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
So
awesome. This is awesome. This ad hoc podcasting is actually, this might be my new thing.
Well, let's do it.
Like,
all right, yeah.
Bring people in.
Bring them in.
Like,
ad hoc them.
There's not like a scheduled person. Like just, hey, who's around? Let's go in and do this.
I saw Sam over there in the corner. Let's see what he's up to.
Yeah. This was awesome, man.
Okay, great.
I appreciate it. Well, if you have not, episode 1, be sure to leave us a comment, give us a like. If we happen to put this on YouTube, give it a subscribe.
There we go. I like that.
And hopefully we'll be back for episode 2.
All right. Sounds great.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Kris. Appreciate it, man.